Hello, folks. Here we are with another Saturday Night Live Zoom. Saturday, April 6th, 2019, I believe is what the date says. So, you know, we have a beautiful day here in Toronto, hitting in the 13 Celsius area. It's nice to see the warmth coming back and the buds on the trees are starting to happen and so on and so forth. Life's coming back. Even though it's always all there, it's for those who have eyes to see, it's always there. It's just to see the visual effects. It's a nice feeling to get that the change of the season happening. All the seasons are beautiful, but springtime is a special time. Clean up and get ready for the summer, and then fall we clean up and get ready for the long winter. So, all the season changes are a wonderful, amazing, great time to get some fasting into you. That's the one thing that I kept for all these almost 3 decades is the season change fast. I would do them religiously. And because I knew that right from the time I picked up Arnold Laird's book, it took me that time, maybe a couple of nights to read it. It wasn't that, it's not a big book, but I just was drawn into that information. And I knew that it's a lifestyle, and there's not something that is going to happen with one fast or so on and so forth. And then shortly after, I ended up being bedridden for a couple of years. So the universe was preparing me for a long journey. Some people think 108 days is a long journey. 3 decades is a little bit longer, and it's still continuing because it's a lifestyle. And that's the one thing that so few gain the understanding that it's a lifestyle. And once you start to understand that, everything changes, and you're not going to look for, oh, am I clean yet? Or whatever. Go back to my eating, but no, this is a lifestyle. It's continuously part of the life, and we love to eat, but we love to fast much more, and that's this whole theme of things. We're not telling everybody to stop eating completely, but minimize your eating, and make sure there's a fasting cycle in your daily, weekly, monthly, season change lifestyle. Because if there's not, as we say, when you're eating, you're obstructing. When you're fasting, you're de-obstructing. So if you're always in eating mode, you're always in an obstructing mode. And obstructions, we can put all kinds of definitions in that, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, because these are the challenges we have in this realm, and those stagnations of these obstructions that are getting into the way of us. Really, what it is getting in the way and clouding the veil for us to connect with Source, is my understanding. And through my experience, I found that all the answers show up in plain sight when I'm on my fast, especially the long ones. That's really where that connection of the information flow, that source of one creation, all knowledge that we can tap into, it comes into play very profoundly on the fasting times. When we're eating, we know we've all been eating for all our lives. So we come to a new revelation when we get fasting into our lifestyle, and embrace the journeys, and take full responsibility. This is where it's very challenging to get that message through, because in this society, what do we find? It's a litigation society, right? 70% of the world's lawyers are in North America, something like that. And for anytime something happens, get your lawyer, and it's not your fault. Somebody else has to pay the price. Have nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing. So somebody else has got to pay for it. And yeah, we can do that in this realm, but in the higher order of things, good luck in ever finding balance with your soul. I can't see it ever happening until you take full responsibility for yourself. And I know, Steve, that you've come to that realization in the last few years, I would assume, right? Since what you've shared from us and many other of you. And it's just awesome. Once you come to that realization, forget about pointing fingers. Stop that. You go to the doctor, you get butchered, you get chemo, you get drugged, you get whatever. Take responsibility. You made the decision to do that. Whether it's done through ignorance or anything, you made the decision to accept that they had the correct information to help you. So you have to take the responsibility.
Deep down, you knew it's not the best, right?
Yeah.
Deep down, we know. Yeah.
Especially in today's world, we have access to tons of information, and that's also a challenge because there's everything from both sides for all information out there. You want to find positive about fasting, you want to find negative about fasting, raw foods, raw meat, animal products. There's both sides of everything, and it's all mixed up, and they're like a big minestrone. You don't know what to do with it, so you eat it and bring more imbalance. So I just see that the further I'm going along in this lifestyle, I'm seeing that we must love the simplicity of things more and more and more. And what I mean by that, if you listen to me talk when I just started sharing this stuff versus now, I'm in a different tune. I don't get into who, what, where, and why. I'm moving away more and more and more away from that. I'm just saying, just trust in your soul, connect to source, because really that's all we need. It really is all done in autopilot. Like I just shared a bird making a nest. I shared one a while ago about the weaver bird, and then bird showed the bird making this whole nest. Like, where does this bird get that information from? Where do they get this knowledge from? They're tapped in. They're tapped into source. And what happens? Their soul, because they're tapped in, it's all done in autopilot. There's no thought process of what these things are doing, these wonderful creatures on this planet. There's no thought process. And we have to look at fasting as the same thing. Just to trust and let the process happen and unfold, because it's done in autopilot. But, being in this realm and how we've been living for, I don't know how many generations of crap and filth, especially the last couple of 2-3 generations, the last 100 years or so, of all man-made concoctions that we've been ingesting, has been abomination to our physicality, and has really degraded and weakened the genetics of humanity overall. And that's why we see more sickness that we've ever seen, children with diseases we've never seen in children when I was growing up. Wasn't available, wasn't there.
Food is meant for profit.
Yeah. So that's basically bottom line. Corporate things are bottom line. Ranjit sends your plasma love to all. Would you describe responsibility as a source of personal power? Tommy. Oh, Tommy, how you doing? Nice to see you here. Personal responsibility is a source of personal power. Every decision you make in your life, everything, doesn't matter how small or how big it is, whatever outcome, it means that you've taken responsibility for making those decisions for yourself and in your life. No matter which way it goes, you have to take that responsibility. And we're generalizing, talking about more so about health, because that's where we're about, to try and restore some balance, because so many of us out there are way out of balance and in misery, pain, and suffering. And we're trying to find some resolution. And as I was saying earlier, people get cancer, this, that, and the other, and they're just pointing fingers. It's this, that, and the other thing's fault. It's the chemical industry that started dumping things. Well, okay, let's back up. Why is the chemical company dumping things? Why? We allowed it. How do you support or not support these things to happen with your dollar, right? With your money buying power, whatever currency you use.
But let's talk about ourselves individually, because we're always making choices that are not ideal.
Yeah, of course.
And before we look outside our life, our own selves, let's just first examine ourselves. We are fully responsible. We have a choice to free will to choose whatever we want to do in our lives, and so we are responsible for this conscious choice that we make in our personal lives, and then of course our communities as well, and our leaders as well. We are responsible for them being where they are.
Yeah. When we start blaming somebody or something else, that's what robs your power. If you really gain that understanding, when you've taken the responsibility, that means that you have the power to change. When you're pointing fingers, you're putting the responsibility for somebody else or something else, and all your power is taken away because you've not taken that responsibility. You've given it away because you've pointed the finger to somebody else.
Yeah, you're saying you're too weak. You can't make a decision. You have to make a decision.
Yeah. So that power comes through, fully responsible. I am what I am. My wish is my command, and I'm tapped into source. Thank God for whatever's happening. This is my way, and I'm taking this path.
And we can be confused, and we can make wrong choices, of course. When we're confused, that's when we want to connect even more to get the right
fast answer. Anytime you're going through challenges in life, whatever it is, fast
and pray.
Yeah. Fast. The clarity comes through. You're going through major healing reactions. Okay, no big deal. Work your way through it. Use the tools. Pull yourself through. We've seen people, doing 10 days, a couple of weeks, and then they say their whole life is destroyed because of master fast. Oh, really? Okay. And what I see mostly, people like this are people that have been on pharmaceuticals, especially the psychiatric drugs. Those things really make a mess of the brain chemistry, because that's where their focus is, to do work on the body or damage to the body. And I've been dealing with a lot of people in this situation. Those are the toughest people to bring some information into them to see the light, and for them to take responsibility and make some changes in their life. They're always looking to blame. And when you're on those things, on those pharmaceuticals, I think we've talked about this before. You're very open. You become very open to different entities, and you're very easily influenced by these other entities, because these things, all obstructions are doing that. But the pharmaceutical, the psychiatrics are
like the drugs in general.
They leave you like an open book.
Like recreational drugs as well, right?
Like let's put it this way: a junkie, a junkie, whether it's somebody using street drugs or junkie on pharmaceutical drugs. There's both. When you go to your doctor, your local drug dealer, it doesn't matter. But if you're a junkie that's doing it by the street, they will do whatever it takes for them to get their next fixed.
Yeah.
They will lie, they will steal, they will cheat. And they will look you in the eye, and you will believe them. This is what I'm trying to talk to you about. So whatever's coming out of people's mouths that are on these kind of drugs, you have to take it with a grain of salt and take a step back and just understand that it's not really them speaking. it's their habit, their addiction, et cetera, et cetera.
It's like they allow the devil to come in.
Even when you stop taking for a while, you got to detox these things out. And the only way I've seen to detox anything out of your body is what? Fasting. I have not seen this stuff come out through changing your diet.
Yeah,
I've not seen it.
Some people, when they start praying, but definitely fasting is a big part of connecting to
I've seen people on clean, raw, vegan diets that come to Master Fast and boom, all hell breaks loose because all this stuff starts coming out of them. And, they're going, well, I've never had this ever happen before. This fast is true. Something's wrong, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sure. You have an understanding when you've seen this over and over for, decades of people fasting. But that's the one thing that we really, people on pharmaceuticals, especially those psychiatric, they really need to be connected with the support and be very, very, very clear and have a good understanding of what this is about and what can happen when you're going through these healing reactions. Because if you don't, you're not gonna be sticking to it. You're gonna go back to your old ways. We've seen it one too many times. So I've the universe. I've seen I've seen others detoxing this and that, but the universe had to give me the experience firsthand, and I had to detox my mother off of that stuff, off of that crap. A year and a half ago or so. And
it wasn't easy. She went back on them.
It was, it wasn't. It's not fun being around that. You think entities don't come in? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can be very mean.
You have no idea, guys. If you haven't experienced it, it ain't fun being around.
Some people get possessed, right? They to a degree, very addicted people.
You really got to be clear and get that stuff out of you. But everything's possible. Everything is possible, and you just got to trust. You just got to trust. And follow a simple system, simple roadmap. That's all this is. It's not the answers to everything, but boy, oh boy, the stuff that people have been through and gotten through is just incredible.
There is a way for everything, really. And I really, at the end of the day, I see it as connecting to God. And fasting helps us connect, better, pray better and become more pure, because at the end of the day, it's all about purity, the connection to God without all these distractions in our lives. It is so beautiful. And of course, Master Fast is a very powerful tool we have to help us go longer with fasting and do it easily. And dry fasting especially, it helps us go longer and longer with dry fasting over time. And dry fasting is the top.
Dry fasting is not the top of the mountain. Dry fasting is as vast as the stars. It goes in other realms that, forget about this realm. It goes beyond. But, we need to be ready, and we need to, just like a marathon runner or any athlete or race car driver, you need to practice to be able to go full out. And that's dry fasting. You work your way up slowly. Lisa's asking, I was on 17 years of mind drugs. Okay. See, this is where we're going. This stuff is coming out, Lisa. Hold on your horses and keep going. Don't worry about it. These things, they don't come out of our bodies easily. And what they actually do is they rearrange the neurons and the pathways in the brain. So it has to be all restructured. And the only way that's going to repair itself and regenerate is through fasting, which it does every time, no doubt. John, Gino, a quick question. Talking with a fellow family member getting ready for his first. I mentioned starting the protocol with the dry. He hadn't read that. Yeah, you can start with the dry, but somebody, I wouldn't be going much more than 3 days, 2, 3 days. Some people, they can't even do one day, when they haven't fasted before. So, yeah, that's the way usually I always start my MFSs with the dry. Um, I don't recommend people going as long as they can. They're not ready. They're just not ready for long dries.
I like starting, especially for new people, to start with liquid just to wash the colon a little bit to get things flowing. This would make the dry much easier for them.
Yeah, always, maybe a day or two, wash colon like crazy, drink, and then get in your dry and start. That's always better when you clear the GI tract as best you can with the colon. But we know it takes years, but we give it a good start to empty it out and get that lightness happening for us. Ranjit starting late with her power outage. Oh, okay.
But I'm back. I am back, and I'm on top of the mountain. I'm on top of a mountain, so I am back.
Always nice to have you here, Ranjit. And everybody else, we have a couple of new faces here. Tommy, Hannah's back. John, of course. Steve, Lisa.
Yeah.
And Judith.
You got some oldies and some newbies. That's awesome. But how you couldn't get it better than that. You couldn't get it better than that.
I'm actually. Where else would you want to be? Seriously, where are you gonna go? Go eat?
I had to do some slow breathing exercises because I couldn't get the internet going, so I had to do some quick meditation to calm me down.
Yeah, it's interesting, have we ever had an internet outage? I think maybe once. I don't remember.
No, not.
We've been pretty good.
Where would we be? We'd have to be telepathic. We'd have to come on telepathically.
Yeah, this is lost. That's the way we communicate in the other realms. So there's no speaking. There's no language. It's just a knowing. Bang! It's connected.
I want to know how Steve's going. You've probably already spoken, but I want to know how you're going with your break.
I still tend to overeat a little bit on the eating days.
Yeah, it's tough.
The cravings are incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. And then I can't say that I've been very good. I mean, I've been okay, but I've had a few days where I've given in.
Yeah, it'll happen.
I feel it immediately.
Yep.
I mean, almost immediately. So.
Yeah.
I'm really planning on going back into a fast. I don't like this. I'm hoping to start again tomorrow. So it's like cycle. It's a cycle. It seems to be a cycle.
Yeah, it's these desires and cravings. They are so strong.
I've never had a craving with the booze. Never. When I quit drinking, I was done. I never experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
Now, this is powerful. This is really, and I really miss the herbs.
Yeah.
So I think tomorrow I'm going to try to go back in.
When I say, food is the most addictive thing, and people don't know it, or we got eating disorders. No, everybody eats got an eating disorder. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's emotional disorder, really.
Yeah, it's we're grabbing our drug, which is whatever food.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And
powerful.
Hey, Steve, I'm with you. I really am, because I only had a 2.5 month break. But I actually felt it pretty much from about 4 weeks. Those triggers start to come back, and I extended. And that's why I started my fast a week earlier. I was just beside myself.
Yeah.
An incredible experience. Thanks, Rana, for reminding me to have my break experience, because now that I've had that, I know what you mean, and I know if you don't go Gina, tell me if I'm wrong or right, but if you don't go into a plan another fast as quick as possible,
Yeah.
even if you stay on a mini or a hybrid or whatever, as soon as you start those eating, it's just an explosion that's beyond anything that you could ever think of, especially from a long fast. I think maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of psychological things that happen and change and through our monkey mind, you know, that we starved ourselves and blah blah blah. We got to make up for everything we've lost. All these crap things that come through our mind, right?
Yeah.
None of it's true, but we fall in the trap. And you know, if you get into the eating cycle and then you let go of fasting completely, and oh boy, you start snowballing. You want to eat more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And you know, we've seen it happen with people because they've not stuck with the system and continue with the resets, so daily, weekly, monthly. You really got to put all your heart and soul into living and loving it. You got to love it. If you don't love the fasting, you're not going to stick to it. It's that simple. It's okay. Just go back to your eating days and we're fine. We know this is a fasting lifestyle. First and foremost, the eating is for joy. It's for joy. Let's throw out the nutrition stuff. We don't need it. We've seen the magic happens on nothing. Why does the body regenerate, rebuild, and everything on nothing? Because it doesn't need anything. It's a whole illusion that we've been ingrained with. And, you know, it was good for the time being, for what its purpose, for whatever, you know. But, you know, we're beyond that now. We have that understanding. Whether we fully 100% believe it, it's another story, but it's okay. We fake it till we make it. We continue going. We're training ourselves to move in that direction of less is more. And we know the difference because the answers are in plain sight when you're on these fasts. Yeah, some people have challenges here and there, big deal. But once you get into those days that, holy mac, I was talking a bit earlier, where's this energy coming from? And you get scared kind of because, you know, you've been going forever, you know, days without food and hours working and moving things. And what's going on here? You know, your monkey mind's going, yeah, you can't keep going. You gotta rest or you gotta eat and none of it's true. It's just, and once that thought comes in, you'll see the physicality changes and you'll start getting tired. Because I'm only talking, I could only speak of my experience. I've experienced these, and I'm sure many of you have already experienced tastes of these. As soon as that thought comes in, the physicality changes. So if it changes in that direction, we can do the opposite as well. We can put the energy back in. We just have to, you know, get the monkey mind, change it, and put the correct intent and emotion and get into the power of things again. And this is the cycle of things that we learn to master slowly. It's not going to happen overnight, you know. It's not going to happen overnight. And then this is where it's a challenge to get that message across. No matter how many times you say it's a lifestyle, the few of the few get it. You know, and that's why you guys are here. You get it. You understand it's a lifestyle. And if it's not a lifestyle, you're going to be back to where you were. It just, whether it's sooner or whether it's later, you're going to end up back to where you were. I can assure you 100%. You'll have the memory of it. You'll have the taste, the experience of it in the back of your head. And maybe sometime when you're ready, you'll be back. And we've seen that happen a lot with people gone for a year or two, and then we see them again because there's nothing out there that you're going to add that's going to give you this wonderful feeling and the taste of nectar of God. You're not going to get it with anything you add in this physical realm. It's not happening. Not happening. God doesn't need physicality. Creation doesn't need any physicality. Doesn't need any matter. It's all done through energy source and plasma, whatever name you want to call it. These fields of energy are what I like to call the plasma love always flowing. And it's always flowing and it's always available and we can tap into it any time we decide to and choose to go into that realm. When we choose the matter, so-called energy, we know what happens. It takes your energy down. and it closes us up to some degree to the limitless realms, I like to call it. And you know, we're all in training. We're all in training. There's mastery takes decades. Of anything to master, you know, to master anything takes decades. Look at athletes and so on and so forth. The top athletes, you know, a decade or so of hard training, so on and so forth, or two, and before they start becoming into the elite stuff and so on. You know, you get a few that'll do it earlier. You know, some will take longer or whatever, but it takes a long time. You know, it's just the way of this realm. It's just a slow down version. Everything's in slow motion here. Whereas in, you know, we go into the dream state in the other realms, everything is instantaneously. You want something, it's instantaneous. As soon as the thought is there, it's already happened. So we just have to learn to have a little bit of patience in this realm, because it's all in slow motion. Once you put the thought, the intent, and emotion, it's just a matter of time before it materializes out. You know, and if you think about the fast, 108 days is not that long. You can see the metamorphosis happening, you know, in that slow motion time of about 3 months. You know, how the body cleanses and transforms itself and the mind clears. So that's what I'm talking about, is why everything's in slow motion. Instantaneously healing, you know, a tumor completely falling off in a second. Is it possible? I believe it's possible, but I haven't seen it. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but I haven't seen it. So the likelihood of these things, forget about them. Let's know that everything is possible, but let's keep working at where we want to go, because it takes work and effort. Anything worth doing is worth working for. So we work for it. It's, you know, we put the effort in and day out, in our sleeps, in our dreams, in our prayers. We're working on it all the time. We're connecting to source more and more so. This is what I believe we need to go in more direction of more people, you know, praying and meditating. We need to go in that direction, because it's a mess. It's a mess. The emotions are all over the place. It's uncontrollable, because there's no connection. There's no connection. They do their little fast for a month or two or whatever. They feel amazing. Then they go back to food, and everything's left behind of what they've learned in the fast. It's left behind. So what do we need to do? We need to have a group. We need to have a support system. And this is what we've been saying since day one. It doesn't work without it, guys. It doesn't work. I did it on my own for all those years. And it was, I can assure you, I can tell you, it's not an easy path doing it on your own. And as time goes on, it's becoming more and more challenging because of what's out there. It's more of that instant gratification society. It's happening more and more and more. You know, fast cars, fast drugs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's wants the speed of instantaneous. You know, is it an article of in the U.S. was it over 1 million children under the age of 6 are on psychiatric drugs. Oh man, where are we going? Where are we going? Like, just imagine, these are the people that are the future leaders of the you know, of U.S. or North America, or whatever. Man, oh man, I hope not. I hope there's enough of us to wake up to make some changes and detox these poor children into the right direction. You know, help these children see the light, because like we were talking earlier, these things, they mess you up. And if you don't believe it, talk to the people who've taken these things, who've weaned themselves off and have not been on them for a while and are detoxing them out of their bodies, and they'll tell you the stories. They'll tell you the stories. There's a few of them, you know. Kelly Kibbe, she's got a wonderful, amazing story that she was on. I don't know how she survived through all of it. She's got amazing story. You know, one of the really dramatic cases of the people that went through literally hell she went through and overcame it, and is shining now. You know, like these are wonderful, amazing stories. You know, so that's what we focus on, because everything's possible, and we know it is. We know it is. If you don't believe it, who cares? I don't care. You don't believe it. Go back to your eating. It doesn't matter because we know that everything's possible. We have no doubt anymore. We've seen so many of these miraculous cases. Gabriel Ellis, who has, he's got another incredible story. Morin, another incredible story. You know, I don't know if Gabriel Ellis hasn't been on her page for a while. He was in a parachuting accident in a competition where he hit the water very, very hard and paralyzed his right side. Went through tremendous, I don't know how many operations and drugs and so on and so forth. And guess what? He got most of his feeling back on his right side. You know, massive fasting. You know, this is the way you do it, guys. You know, Marin, he's one of the most butchery experiments I've ever heard of. I haven't seen anybody survive what Marin's went through. So, you know, like there's lots of other stories, but these ones here are just like incredible transformations. And, you know, a lot of us, we've never had anything near that. And we're bitching and complaining about these stupid little small healing reactions. Oh, my stomach, I can't handle the hunger pains. Okay. You haven't been sliced open and everything ripped out of you a few times, you know what I mean? Been drugged up. Okay, you know, we understand it's not comfortable, but, you know, don't worry, you know.
Hunger pain on the massive fast. I don't know about that.
Trust. Well, it's usually the first week or so that's the most challenging until the GI tract gets cleared.
Yeah, maybe heartburn. But
yeah.
For people who have,
you know, like, you know, some people, you know, and under second or third MFS are getting harder healing reaction. I've explained it. Once you start peeling the layers, you go into the darker, deeper stuff, which may not come to the surface on the first one, maybe second, third, we don't know. Like, you know, I had that amazing, crazy, over 5 weeks lung detox in my 5th year of raw foods and fasting. It took that much to get into that. And, you know, people are expecting that to happen in a few months, a couple of fasts. Make it a lifestyle, forget about it. Don't worry about it. Embrace whatever comes, you know, love it, live it, love it, and just ride it. Just ride it. Trust. You don't have to trust me. As you go through the experiences of many fasts, you will gain the understanding. That's really the only thing I can say. Because we've shared, all the information is there for you to see, but you can't grasp it because you haven't tasted it. Just like food or whatever that you've never tasted, we can explain it to you, the taste of a durian, if you've never experienced it, or a taste of a peach, a taste of an apple, a banana. If you've never ever tasted it, you're not going to know what it is. You know, how can you understand it? So live it, love it, and embrace it. And stay connected. You know, stay connected on the page. That Facebook page is a gold, what's another different word? It's
super violent.
No, it's like a wiki, a master fast wiki of information, of many experiences in there. If you use the search option, there's a lot of people's experiences in there and a lot of magic in there. John, I know you use it a lot. It's like I use it myself because, you know, there's so much, and you know, you get that thought of whatever from way back, and you punch it in. Oh my God, what a story! You know, even if it's just one sentence, that was some magic in that one sentence. There's a lot of information in there, and all the interviews and stuff we've done and these calls. There's a little bit of magic in everything, and when you're connected, you'll feel part of something. Whereas if you're not connected, you're doing it all on your own. Eventually, your environment's going to drag you down. It's going to drag you down, bring you back to where you were, because that's your environment. Environment dictates outcome, internal and external. So we want to make our environments as best we can. That's why we like to say, Change everything in your life from A to Z. Everything. Everything. So you do not have the old triggers to go back to, because those are going to be your downfall. And I can say it because I've been through it. You have to change everything to get yourself a new slate to start on and be off to the races. Right, my dear? Yeah.
Totally with you there, Gino. That was really good stuff. What you come through with, honestly, and with intention. Intention actually means you expect an experience. But with that, when you set your intentions, you've got to do it I do mine every morning. There's going to be doubts and fears and all those things that come. That's the thing that you've got to work through. You've got to work through it in some part of your life, so you might as well do it while you're fasting, because you're cleaning out the GI tract. That's how I see it. But yeah, that's the intention. And I think when I came on, Rana was talking about, you need God's source or anything like that, because you do. Because I'm thinking to myself the other night, because I was looking at the post on the Facebook page, and I think we've all had some mystical spiritual experiences in the past, all of us here.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I realised, when you clean out the GI tract, that mystical spiritual experience stays with you because you're completely clean. So we all have this ability to tap into it, however form or way we do that. And then when you have that mystical, I've had some really interesting experiences like I haven't had before, and they're different. So yeah, and it's fascinating, because you go, well, that's because the GI tract's clean, and then you're already tapped in, because in your past those things have been, the seeds already in there, the remembering's already in there, as we know, and when you're fasting you're actually watering it, and that's how I feel, and it comes out. But it lasts longer, and it's much more gentle, it's very kind, it's very loving, it never gives you anything that you can't really truly handle. And Rana's right, you need that, need something to help you through that, whatever that is for the person. And the other thing too, Gino, you alluded to, is it really is about focus, because there's so much information out there on the internet. You can be part of anything, right? But I know for me, when I made my decision on this, it was just a one decision. I could have gone down the Dr. Morse's track, for example, and what a beautiful man and soul he is, because he helps so many people. I absolutely love him. But if I saw he was going down the science track, and I didn't want to get caught up in that, because then I go study and research things. So you really got to know yourself very well, your personality. And then I thought, no, I want a simple life. I want an easy life. And this really touched my heart, Master Fast System, just by watching all those stories on the YouTube channel that you got, because people were pouring out their heart. They were giving, and I just got goosebumps every time I used to listen to an interview. They didn't have to share that information with me or anyone else here. They didn't have to do that. And so that's a thing that, and there were real stories. They were raw, real, dirty, in your face. This is what happens when I'm on 108 days or whatever days you're on. And it's very similar thread with all of them, but each a unique story, which means it's individualized, it's their experience, it's what they're going through. And that's what happens when you do a Master Fast System. I find that when you do a long one, it's unique, but there's a similar thread. And the similar thread is, yes, you get connected to God big time. You really, really do. And that, to me, like I think I said it last week, we didn't record it, because the week before I said I had no fear on my 3-day dry. But I do have a fear. If I'm not connected to that 24/7, that really fears me. It's a driving force that I flip it to make it a good thing, because it drives me to be on purpose on this planet and serve the planet, because what else am I going to do when I get to 150 or past 140, I should say? What am I going to do? I'm going to be around for 100 years. I expect it. I have the intention for it. I expect that experience for us in this lifetime. So you just go, well, you've got to do something. So you're going to be connected to source. So that's how I kind of feel. But I know I'm preaching, but I really feel that there isn't the support that you can get anywhere besides here. I don't know of anything else. If there is, let me know. No, because I don't see it. And just be disciplined, committed, it builds confidence when you're on a fast. The rest is just all those paradigms that you're just sort of letting go. And like what you say, Gino, change your environment, because that is huge. That whole, environment keeps you very, very stuck. The more you change and keep moving and doing new things, it really does help. But it's good. It's good to see so many people here, Gino, like John and Hannah, and Latrice is back. Hello, Inga. Judith's here. I don't know, so many other people. There's a new person here, I think.
Tommy.
Hello, Tommy. Tommy, welcome. You're just all such beautiful people. You inspire me so much. I am always in complete gratitude.
Yeah, it's you touched on something that the saying is there's more brain in the gut than there is in the head, right? And there's a lot of truth to that. And when you clear it out, as you've mentioned, you really start to understand that how all the material things that we ingest influence our thinking, how powerful they are. And when you go back to food, you know even more how powerful they influence us. So there's something magical when you clear out that GI tract, for sure, because you're dealing with pure plasmatic energy with no matter getting in the way. And it's clear, and that's where that connection comes through. They say that how do you get what's the saying about you get through a man through his stomach, whatever. It's really you're getting to from source through the stomach, a clear stomach, that connection. There's the gateway. Somehow there's that connection there. And of course, the GI tract energetically is connected to the whole rest of the body. But in the physical, we're drawing and we're cleaning through there. And it's just awesome when it starts clearing out. There's just no real words sometimes to explain what happens, and the magic feeling we obtain when we've cleared it out. It's just, there's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. Tommy, I've been struggling to acquire tools for 2 years now, starting next week. Oh, wow. It's interesting, Tommy. Living like a fruitarian based lifestyle, raw vegan kind of lifestyle, in today's day in these large cities, it ain't cheap to eat that way. It's just, I don't comprehend why. You can buy a chicken or a beef, or a piece of beef that has been grown up, fed, watered, taken care of, butchered, cut up, delivered, blah, blah, blah. All that work where you put a seed in the ground and it grows, and that costs more than all that work. I don't comprehend. So there's an agenda somewhere to keep us from eating clean and minimal. If you don't see it, I don't know. You pick a mango, they're $3-4 for a little mango, $5. It grows freely every year. How much work is there compared to growing an animal? But hey, this is what's out there, and it's the prices of fruit and stuff has gone insane. If I was one of those fruitarians who ate large amounts of food, it would be insane to feed that lifestyle. But living on this lifestyle, when you're truly living a lifestyle, less is more. I'm spending less now, even though the prices have tripled over the last few years, than I ever have on eating. I'm spending less now. So you'll gain this understanding. So many have shared on how much they've saved living this lifestyle. If you are, living in a restaurant type lifestyle, it's another, big expense, unless you're in fast food chains or something, real crappy stuff. But, ideally, 3 days a week, you shouldn't be eating. 1 day dry fast, one day liquid before, 1 day liquid after. That's not ideal. So then you're only spending money for food on 4 days. The other 2 days of liquids, what does it cost you? If some juice and stuff, it's minimal, very, very minimal. And, you will, over time, start feeling better and better and better over the years. And you'll start gaining more and more of an understanding of the less is more lifestyle. So for people to, struggling for 2 years to, save up, I don't understand. That's quite a bit. I don't know what you're doing for a living, Tommy, but, a lot of, like the rent here in the Toronto area has gone ballistically insane. It's becoming like New York here. It's just, it's crazy. You get a little tiny flat downtown, you're gonna be paying like $1,200 or something. It's just crazy. Yeah, man.
Shared, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, shared. It's insane. Renting homes, $23, $24, $2,500 small home. So all this fictitious money system and the value of money and all that. Whatever. Okay. Live the lifestyle of less is more, and you will gain the benefits. Purify your life. Keep your life simple. We only buy things that are necessity, basically. Maintenance of the home, maintenance of the vehicle. I still drive a 2005 vehicle. Keep it running.
Keep it in good shape.
Keep it in good shape. A new car would be nice. Yeah. Okay. What's it gonna do for me? I don't drive much.
As long as this one is working, you're fine.
Yeah, and I didn't buy it. I got it handed down after my dad passed away. I had a 1990. My vehicle was a 1991. I drove that for many, many years. And so guys, everything's possible. But your wish is your command, and you've put the intent and emotion to start doing this. And even though it took you 2 years, I'm glad you're starting next week. You've made it happen because your wish is your command, even though it took you 2 years. It's amazing. It's awesome. Congratulate you. And now it's all going to be a whole different realm for you. But really gain the understanding that it's a lifestyle, and don't be in a race. Don't be in a race. Take your time. Go at the pace that you're going to be able to handle. If somebody is close to their deathbed by their diagnosis, those are the ones that I would really encourage to go long, but really, really, really have a well written down plan of how they're going to exit and live.
And study the protocol and watch the videos so you can understand.
You got to be connected. You got to be connected. You got to stay connected. You got to be. Otherwise, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna live it. You're not gonna do well. You got to be connected. This is the one key that most people miss. 108 days. You're holding that key. You're holding that master key, and the door was open. And you're gonna walk through, or you're gonna close it up. Some choose to close it, believe it or not. Some choose to close it, and that's okay. They may open it later on. We don't know. Some have done that, and some just will close the door and never open it again. So all the choices we make in life, be responsible. Let's be responsible, and everything, you'll have a whole different view of everything in your life when you do that. You'll have a different view completely. Even though you may start saying something, where you're blaming, you'll start catching yourself more and more that, oh, wait a minute. Well, it's my responsibility. and yeah, the more you catch yourself, the more you'll catch yourself. So you train, we train ourselves, and all is well. It's a beautiful thing. What area are you from, Tommy? U.S., Canada?
Yeah, I'm from the U.S.
U.S. Awesome. You have any challenges, or why did you what brought you to MFS?
I didn't find. I'm 37 years old. I didn't find out until I was 32 that I had a sensitivity to penicillin. Antibiotics just absolutely ruin your gut, and it threw my hormones out of whack. And I've been struggling with. I mean, if you want to, deal with labels, I've been struggling with symptoms of depression since I was 7 years old.
Yeah, well, as we talked earlier, the gut, the connection is more brain than the head, right? So,
right.
Yeah. When you start clearing it out, you'll see massive changes happen. You may go through some challenging times where you feel worse, but understand it's part of the process. As you peel the layers away, all the weaknesses will surface. All of them will. It's a matter of time.
Yeah, but most of the time it's manageable.
Yeah.
It's manageable.
Right.
In my opinion, it always feels better than when you eat.
Yeah.
In my opinion. From my experience, it always feels better than when I ate fasting. Even the hardest time was like when I did 3-day dry fast, even 2 days, sometimes the beginning, when you do the first month, second month, you would feel tired in your longer dry fast. But other than that, it's easy. So when you're doing a long dry, maybe stay home on the second day and the third day.
No, keep moving.
Yeah, but I mean, stay
be
home
ready.
just in case you need to lie down and not be expected to work.
Yeah, but just bring stuff with you in case you have to break it, and then get home and do your enema and stuff. Everything's fine.
So it's easy.
Don't live in fear.
I'm planning 108 days. I'd like to. I recently saw one of the interviews of a young lady. She never stopped, and I didn't know exactly what her plan was, but she never stopped. And I would like to plan my fast so that I can continue past 108 days. I don't know what kind of approach goes into that, but.
What do you mean she never stopped? What, she's still on?
I can't remember her name. It started with an A. It was like Alina or Alira or something like that. You guys interviewed her. I don't know how long ago it was, but
she went past 108?
She went past 108, yes.
I think so.
But anyway, I'd like to plan my fast to go beyond 108 or do at least 108.
What's your lifestyle been the last few years?
Sad diet. I do have a history with fasting. There was, it was a spiritual practice for my family growing up. We would fast sunset to sunset every Wednesday. And during my young adult life, I did do a liquid-only 40-day fast. I've done juice fasting, so I'm familiar with, the ups and downs of cravings and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it is, the mental clarity. I never forgot what that feels like. And I'd like to dig much, much deeper. Although my lifestyle hasn't reflected my, what I ultimately want for myself. But, the depressive symptoms, and I don't mean to depend on the label of depression, but that's the best way I can describe it. It's, it's stifled, a lot of the clarity my mind is capable of, that I know it's capable of. So, something long-term that I know is best for me, is something that I'm looking into, looking forward to doing. And having researched a lot of what you guys have done and watching many of the interviews, I would have to say the most credible testimony that I have come across was yours, Gino, having been, bedridden for 2 years and still afterwards having the resilience to recognize that something that you're doing was working so incredibly that it had such a large effect on you. And that's, knowing that people.
I had that little spark of understanding that I got to keep going.
Right. Right. So that's, that's been one of the, and also you said that those who are committed are already healed. Mm-hmm. And so for the past 2 years, just, I have a fairly stable employment situation, but, expenses and things like that have stifled, acquiring the tools necessary for starting. Not only that, but also, struggling mentally, and still eating the entire time and knowing that, that I was just putting more obstructions in my way. So I guess more or less I was fighting myself for 2 years, but, the part of myself that has prevailed has, I have many of the tools necessary. I've been, I look at the site at least once or twice a day, pay attention to posts. I've put a few of my posts have made it onto the page. I do treat it like a Wikipedia page, and searching is, different things. That's been my most useful tactic for acquiring the necessary tools has been the page, so I can find the things that are necessary. So and I'm sitting here taking, copious amounts of notes as well. Mm-hmm. So studying the protocol is my primary objective while I prepare for the start. John has been a big support for me as well. He and I have had a number of phone conversations. So I want to stay connected. That's all.
Yeah, this is the way we are going to, make anything happen. Is you got to be connected with like-minded people. Otherwise you just be, toned down by everybody out there, because this is not readily acceptable out there yet. Fasting in general has been the exposure has been getting more and more in the last few years, especially after MFS has been out there. But it's still the understanding of what fasting is I just don't see it. So everybody's talking about science and all that stuff. Getting into ketosis and your body's consuming itself and all that. There's just there's not a clear understanding of what truly fasting is. Fasting, first and foremost, is spiritual. Nothing physical. And you have that experience growing up, which is wonderful. You're coming from a SAD diet. We've had several doing it. Right from a SAD diet, 108 days. Some of them went back to SAD diet. And that's why even Ranjit wrote here, have you set your intention? Depression is low moods. Can you use this to pull you through an opportunity for growth? John, just do it. It will all click and that mind will quiet. Yep. So really, really be clear, Tommy. If you want to keep going, that's all fine and dandy. But remember that without that clear intent and emotion, clearly written out, and a real strong focus and a connection to source, once you put food in your mouth, everything changes. Okay, you've listened to the people's stories, you'll know that's the point where everything changes, because you've gone from one source of energy to another source of energy, which actually robs you of energy, which is food. Everything changes in all levels when you start taking your food again. And this is why, as I said, once we go back to food, really, really be clear to never, ever go back to 7 days a week eating food again, ever. Get that completely out of your mind. No matter how long you may go for MFS, even if you go even 1 year, and then one day you decide you're going to eat, be very clear. Like Marin is the only one who's in his 3rd year and is still going on full MFS. He's actually on the liquid hybrid, meaning he only adds 1 green juice a day. He hasn't eaten anything. He only took a 2-week break approximately. He was having tremendous healing reactions, and he was just doing smoothies in that time. But the only one who's on liquid, on MFS, full MFS pretty much for this, over 2 years now. And he started putting on muscle when it was coming close to the 2-year mark. He actually started putting muscle on.
Yeah, after removing the last drug.
Yeah. He was 13 surgeries, 4 cancers, experimental surgeries, 4 years of chemo. Superhero story. So what we got to go through is nothing compared to what our poor wonderful Marin had to endure. But he took charge, and he's going. He's doing well. It's just begun. A few years. It's just begun. It's difficult for people to comprehend. What do you mean? Because we're in that fast-paced, instant gratification society. Take a pill, everything's good. It doesn't work that way. Never seen it work. The pills keep popping, keeps happening because that's what they're in. They fell into that trap. And that's the illusion they're in, which actually separates them from the truth of anything. So, what other drugs have you gone through? Sorry, go ahead.
I've got. I'm a single guy. I've been single for about 4 months now, and my girlfriend at the time, she's been taking the psychiatric, the psychotropic drugs for probably over 7 years, 7, 8, maybe even 10 years. And, I was with her when I discovered MFS, and, she pointed out that I was having some mental issues, and she wanted me to get help. And, I told her I'd done the juice fast before, and I want to take something like that to the next level and, experience something on that level, or perhaps beyond what I've experienced before. And when I started researching MFS, of course I got excited, and I told her about it, and she was the wrong person to tell about MFS, because the amount of opposition I received from her, it was just, because she always said that she was willing to support me, and, not to get hung up on it, but like her economic situation was a little better than mine. And she always told me that was never a factor. Love is love. The people that you want in your life, their economic situation is not the major factor, So knowing that I had somebody like that in my life, I thought, well, I could tell her anything, But come to find out, it's just like you guys were saying earlier about people on, pharmaceuticals. It's almost like they're possessed. And I remember one day we were spending some time together, and she had run out of a prescription. And I saw her going through the withdrawals for that prescription. She was completely unrecognizable. And I had never seen her like that before. But also knowing that even if she were to see the benefits of MFS, she would have a long struggle ahead of her. Yeah. She really would. And it's heartbreaking to think about that, because I already know this is not something she agrees with. I really thought, it was one of those situations where you see someone react to something you tell them about your own personal decisions, and her response was so jarring to me. I really didn't expect the level of opposition to come out of her mouth, that I never spoke of it again with her. And that was almost the beginning of the end between us. It was really, really unfortunate. But, I have things like that as motivation, knowing that, because my focus is changing, the people around me are changing. Like you were saying, you know, you set your intention and the physicality changes, not only in your own body, but in the environment around you, whether it's the people you involve yourself with, the mentality that they hold. You start to see the distinction between your intention and their intention. I mean, you know, if two people deal with separate definitions of the same words, even though they're speaking the same language and using those same words in conversation, they're speaking a different language to each other. Yeah. So our definition of energy, our definition of life, our definition of, you know, fulfillment and satisfaction, you know, where you guys are saying you experience more satisfaction not eating anything for multiple hours than certain people do, you know, eating a full meal. So our definitions are changing, and thus the language that we speak is very different. And that's one of the biggest motivators, is knowing that as my focus is shifting, there are people I can communicate with and identify with. So I haven't even started. John keeps saying he can't wait to talk to me after at least 36 to 40 days, just because, I mean, this is a very, very strong intention for me. It's like, I mean, even though I struggled for 2 years to acquire the necessary tools, I mean, it's like the old proverb, you know, 2 dogs are in a fight, which one wins? The one that you feed the most. And so having come to this point 2 years later, I haven't been feeding, you know, the dog much more than the other one, because it's been a struggle. But, you know, obviously this one is, you know, is on the winning side. So I'm very excited to be part of this experience, and I appreciate you guys being there. So
the proverb is wrong. It's the one that you don't feed, because he won't be there for the fight.
Right. I didn't even.
You know, like in martial arts, what they say, the master will never have to use his art.
Right.
He won't be there.
Right.
There. So yeah, we're talking a whole different thing. You try to communicate with what we're saying to the average person. They think we're out of whack. I still got my family members. I've been doing this 30 years. They still think I'm out of whack. So nothing's changed. So, you know, but you know, that's why at one point I stopped, you know, telling people anything what I did, just shared with people that were interested. And same thing on the page, you know, if this is what we're doing, if this is not, you know, kosher with you, that's fine, you know, move on. We're only here to support MFS. We don't care about anything else. There's a million other pages you can go to. If this is not for you, it's okay, fine, no worry. It's very, very, you know, niche. You know, everything's wonderful out there. Everything's got a purpose. All the different so-called detoxes, whatever, you know, everything, you know, has a learning experience. But most of us have been through so many of all that stuff out there, and you know, we're into letting go of the matter kind of state things and moving into other realms where it's limitless. The limited area, the matter state, you're only going to go so far with diets and detox and this and that. You got to, you know, make the choice if you want to stay in that realm or move on and connecting to source. You know, this is the one key thing that most of us have lost their connection. You know, the God thing is not cool anymore. You know, everybody's moving away from the God thing. They're doing everything but. I don't know. It's just got to keep things simple. I don't know what how else we can inspire more people. All the stories and everything is there. Like, since I've been taking care of my mother, I pulled back a lot of doing work and taking, you know, putting up testimonials and interviews. We haven't been doing a lot of it because it's a full-time job taking care of my mother, and so that's my priority. But all the information is all there, pretty much. You know, we're learning new things all the time with people interacting and on these calls, and people are sharing. We're always learning. We're always expanding. There's no stagnation in what we're doing. It's continuously opening up more and more of these stagnant ports and keeping that flow happening more and more. So continually continuing with that elegant dance between the stars, and continuously tapping into that nectar of God, which I like to call. There's nothing that tastes. You'll never have anything compared to the taste of nectar of God. When you've tasted it, you'll understand how powerful that is. And so we move day by day. Today is a non-eating day, and that's all we have to focus on. Forget about 108 days from now. Today is a non-eating day.
Fasting.
I'm fasting today. Focus on today. Focus on now. That's all we can focus on. People have all these wonderful goals. It's great. You want to set some kind of intention, roughly, but write it down and just put it aside and focus on today and make it happen. But don't be scared of the food thing. That's why we eventually decided we had separated the food to another group, and then we ended up closing that one because we seen it brought more confusion to people, and more people more fearful of the eating thing. So you have to have food be able to be in front of you and be able to have it be in control, because we're living amongst food everywhere. So it's part of us. It's part of us. We have to know how to deal with it on a day-to-day basis. Food is okay. It's wonderful.
We're going to eat, 108 days, even 180 days, we're going to end up eating. Most of us.
Yeah.
Only Marine is the one who is fasting nonstop. Actually, Marine didn't like to be on the food page, remember?
Why did you put me on this page?
It's like, I don't want to eat. So when we get to that stage, maybe we can remove the food.
Yeah, there's somebody.
I was going to ask Tommy for a favour for us. One is, because it's listening to his intentions and his goals and everything. We all believe in you, Tommy. We really do. But if you can just get to that end of month 3-day dry, no matter what, because when you come out of that, it is just, like from my experience and most people, it is the most incredible, enlightening downloads. A whole lot happens in that. So if you can get to that first, that'd be great. And with the food thing, because you have all these thoughts of food, what I did personally, if it helps, and other people probably done the same thing, is I just used to eat it in the other dimension. So when a food come up, I just went and spoke to the soul, and I said, what do you want me to do? And here we go, we'll feed it for you. So that's what I did. I used to have feasts in the other dimensions, and I used to invite my MFS family with me. You may not have known it, but I did. So if you can do that, it was. And the other thing is just to get to that end of month dry, because the first 30 days or the first 21 days, the first 14 days, in my personal opinion, is the most toughest. And if you can get on this call every week, we will just pump you up with complete support and motivation to keep you going the next week. So that's only 4 weeks.
All right, I hear you, Ranjit. So you're saying get to the 3-day dry, feast in the other dimension, and get on the call every week.
Stay connected. Stay connected on the page. Yeah, man, stay connected. Because
right.
Honestly, doing it all on your own, it's not that it's not possible. It's much more challenging in today's world that we live in. When I started off with no internet, no nothing, honestly, it was better back then, with much less distractions. We weren't bombarded with all these cell phone things and computers and all that. We weren't bombarded with all that stuff. Now we're constantly being bombarded and triggered by a million things. It's a whole different realm than when I started. The support page now is crucial, I find, is one of the elements that the people that are not connected will not make it. I can assure you. 99% of them will not make it. You'll have one, in 1,000 that'll be able to do it on their own. But like I said, everything's possible. But it's if we do things to put things more in your odd, let's do that. It's cheap insurance is what we call it, right?
And the first day is in my opinion, from my experiences, the first day is always the hardest, So just be patient the first day. You were eating the day before. Your bed is full of food from the day before. So I would get busy washing the colon the first day. Whenever you have cravings, or even, if you can do a couple of enemas or colimas, just go for it. Just wash it as much as you can. Try to remove the food, recent food. This would really help with the cravings and would quiet the mind as well, and you would feel much better.
Rana, just a quick question. You were saying, dealing with the difficulty of the first day. I'll be honest with you. I have very small meals on a regular basis, and then every once in a while I'll eat too much. But for like today, I really haven't had a lot of food. Now, I was talking to John, and John was saying that I should already be using my Colima board, even though I haven't purchased my juice yet. He was saying I should start using my Colima board just to get used to it. I mean, I've got, a few gallons of distilled water that I can use. I haven't, measured out my the pudding yet. I'm guessing if I were to grow accustomed to using the Colima board, I would not be using the pudding.
What do you mean you would be using the pudding?
I would not, like, for instance, my final purchase for my tools would be to buy my Concord grape juice and the lemon juice. But I already have the Colima board, and John was suggesting that I start using the Colima board already.
Yeah, use it. I use mine pretty much daily when I'm eating, Tommy. And when I'm fasting, I'm using it every day except the dry fast days, right?
Right. Okay.
So that's the way I like washing. I don't
Okay.
I wake up, have a bowel movement, Colima board.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna try it tonight after the call. Oh my God, I'm so nervous.
Yeah, no. At the beginning, once you get used to it, it's another time where you just connect and get in your meditative state, pray, whatever, and just have that 45 minutes, hour to yourself.
And you don't need to buy distilled water. It's too much work to go and buy distilled water.
Get a shower filter, simple shower filter. Put some baking soda in there, some clay, a pinch of charcoal. Don't go crazy for washing the colon like some people. Oh no, it's got to be the best water. Okay, if you have access to all, that's fine and dandy. But I've done it with chlorinated city tap water in situations I'm not at home or whatever. Who cares? I'm gonna wash because it's better to move out what's in there with a little bit of whatever's in the water. Unless you're in an area where the water's absolutely horrific, non-drinkable, that's a different story. But I've even used the straight seawater. So
yeah.
Okay.
Use filtered water if you can.
Yeah.
Get a filter, cheap filter or whatever for the shower.
Especially when you're in a fasting mode, which is the body has switched to elimination mode. This is where few people understand that even if there is some whatever in the juice in the water, the body's not going to hold on to it like it is when you're eating. It'll dump it out very quickly because it's already in that state of elimination mode. And this is the beauty of living a fasting lifestyle. If you're eating eating lifestyle where you're eating 7 days a week, you're never in that elimination mode. You're always obstructing. So you're continuously building. You only have that small window of sleep, which is not enough in today's society for your body to detox. It's just not enough. And some people eat before they go to bed, so you don't even have that window. Your body's digesting all night, which you really can't. It's 8 hours of whatever, and you wake up more tired when you're at sleep. So we have that, time frame, even when we're back on food, that we're having our dry fasting schedules or wet days or whatever, or juice days, and we're continuously keeping the body switching from, obstructing to de-obstructing mode. So it always has a chance to unload. It's a continual thing that we learn to live by. And that's the difference. of living a fasting lifestyle or an eating lifestyle. And I've not seen anybody out there understand, even though we've explained it many times. I've not seen the information out there in 3 decades. So that's why we are doing what we're doing in MFS. And I hope just people appreciate what we're doing and why we do things certain ways and why we're close knit, because we don't want to deal with all the other influences and disturbances, because we've already been down those paths, and we don't want to go back to that stuff. We're opening up the realms where very few will go, and nobody else has opened up, to my understanding, in this type of thing. There's very, very few out there who understand, like people get into the breatharian type of things that they moved away from the matter, and that's becoming more and more popular. But the way some of them are doing it, I don't agree with, because we have a different understanding with the GI tract and clearing that out, and that's why we see so much magic happen, because of the power of cleaning the GI tract. You'll gain the understanding with the experiences, and just embrace it all and let it ride.
I wanted to chime in with a few words.
Sure.
I don't doubt, Tommy, that you could absolutely do 108 days. When I started out, I also did the 108 days just over 2 years ago. And then a few months after that ended, I did another 108 days. And I spent some time off, and I've gone back and forth since. But I've faltered a lot being off the fast. And looking back now, I might have tried smaller lengths of fasting and just continually built up, so that I could practice my lifestyle techniques in between each of the fasts.
What do you mean lifestyle techniques?
Like just like we're talking about, having to be around things like food constantly, having being confronted with new understandings and truths, and then still interacting with people in your normal lifestyle and seeing things that used to seem normal but now seem incredibly foreign and false. And I felt so much conflict and emotion within me being off the fast that I ended up doing a lot of overeating and having a lot of internal pain, not knowing how to deal with it. And now I am trying to finally sort that out. I've also come to the understanding that I did not have before, that the Master Fast is not an event, it's a lifestyle. And I didn't quite understand that in the beginning. And now I've gotten there 2 years later, because understanding is also you hearing something, but then it's also feeling it inside. And so now I have more of these strong feelings and that understanding. And so I sort of look back and think maybe I could have gone 40 days and then practiced Master Fast weekly or hybrid, or even just mucusless eating and keeping up my weekly fast, or my and the other fasting, the monthly fast too, and then gone back on, within a certain amount of time, and then done 60 days, and then continually building up. Because without going into it too much, I have had a lot of physical issues because of how I reacted with food afterwards. So it's something that you might want to consider. I've also come from a very emotional point of view, a very emotional background. I was always a very thoughtful child, without using the big D word about how I looked at things. And I had a lot of emotion towards things. I went into the arts, and I was on drugs for these emotions because that's what I was told was needed. And I mentioned earlier that I was on 17 years of them. And the time flies, you're told one thing and you keep doing it, and then you see somebody else and they say, well, keep doing it, and so on. And I'm sort of unraveling this knotted ball of yarn that is who I am now. And I think maybe not necessarily a slower pace, but would have helped in starting off this lifestyle, but maybe a more considered pace. A lot of honoring who I am, a lot of honoring of the emotion I'm experiencing, a lot of honoring what I live amongst would have been advantageous. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate that.
Welcome.
And the other thing is, like, get into nature as much as you can. There's a special energy of source, of God, or whatever you want to call, when you're in nature, that you can feel, that you're not going to feel in man-made structures and so on and so forth. The energies of these buildings, that the way they're made, most buildings, modern buildings or whatever, their energies are under stress. The buildings are not working with the principles of creation in the universe. Everything is under stress, the square, rectangle buildings and so on and so forth. So when you're in nature, everybody feels much better. Like you said, you were experiencing depression and stuff. Today, spoken over 1 million children on psychiatric drugs under 6 years old. What? I remember growing up, my parents couldn't keep us inside. What to eat? Right. Oh, we don't want to eat. We want to keep playing. Who thought about food? We were forced to go in to eat.
Right.
We wanted to stay outside because the energy was limitless. If you look back in the memory, I don't know how you grew up and stuff, but we grew up outside. Today's children are not growing up outside, and we're seeing mass challenges with, the psyche of children today, and many other people.
Yeah.
So
another thing is the parents are sick.
Yeah, stay connected to nature. Stay connected to source, and these are the things that are vital. Psychiatric drugs. Just use psychedelics, mushrooms, man. Those work better than any drug. They're not addictive. But you got somebody that's not happy, you give them a magic mushroom, they'll be laughing their heads off. What better thing to use for depression?
Yeah, my roommate, he's currently working with a couple of friends, and they're putting together a crop. It's going to be interesting. So that's something I've always been interested in. I've got other friends I have a friend, he said he's literally tried everything.
Yeah.
But he strongly recommends the psilocybin or the magic mushroom. So that should be interesting. I can definitely say, as far as the way, there's always been a spark that has never died, especially when I started experiencing the depressive symptoms at 7 years old.
Wow.
But a part of my mind always knew this is not right. I went from being this vibrant, child who loved to rip and run outside, and now all of a sudden there's like this dark shroud hanging over my head all the time. There was this small spark that knew that was not, I was out of alignment on some level. I knew that there's something wrong here. And still 30 years later, despite 3 suicide attempts, despite the constant, feelings with inclinations towards self-harm, I am still here. And so being ready to start, a new lifestyle that hopefully will provide me with some level of reclamation for my soul. If that means expanding that spark into just a blazing inferno through dry fasting, hey, I'm ready. And as far as getting into, I've got John. John doesn't shut up. That's the thing I love about him, is he doesn't stop, and he's always, providing suggestions or little tidbits here and there, or he'll find a YouTube video and send it to me. So, you know, and I can always go on the page, and I'm getting to the point now, even though I haven't even started, you know, people start posting on the page and it's like, he hasn't listed, you know, the products that the tools that he has, or I don't think this guy has even started MFX, and he started talking about dry fasting, you know? Yeah. So, you know, I really want to tap in, and I'm going to try my Kalima board after I get off this call. And John is going to ask me about it, and I'm going to be really nervous, but whatever. So I'm ready to get started. I thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Like, you know, we have everything. When people join the group, we ask them to read the notice, and I can assure you, most people don't read it, because one of the things on the notice is to introduce yourself. Very, very, very few people even introduce themselves. So once they start posting stuff, we can see right away who's read and who hasn't. So, you know, it's a challenge to be in this position to run a page like this, because we have such a direct focus of what we're doing, and most people don't see what we're doing because they're there for whatever reason. They heard whatever about MFS, and they're looking for that magic pill, which doesn't exist, right? It takes a lot of reading, watching videos, interacting, and understanding, and actually doing to start gaining the understanding. Like Lisa says, you know, she's one of many. You know, after 2 years, you know, finally get this is a lifestyle. You know, she's come a long way from where she started. So it's just we're moving in the direction, and we know where we're going. It's just everything that's happening is part of the journey. And sometimes it's not pleasant, and it's okay. But I can assure you, the fasting times are the best times, not the eating times. Mm-hmm. You will see. You will see what we mean when you start clearing up the GI tract.
Well, I'll say this, they were all nodding our heads.
The fasting is the most joyful times. All the illusions of all the wonderful foods and tastes we've had be thrown all out the window when you start putting food back in your mouth. Yeah, okay, you get that few seconds of pleasure, and then your body's got to deal with it. And you're going to go,
yeah, you want to find
wow, is this what eating's about? I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah, especially when you overeat, and then when you eat every day, like it's even 6 days a week, you're going to feel it.
You're never going to be satisfied with eating, no matter what you eat. Never, ever again.
Honestly,
when you clear the GI tract.
Yeah, for sure. But if you keep it fruits mainly, and maybe one meal a day, and the rest of it dry fasting. Like if you want to eat 1 meal a day, maybe maximum 2 meals a day, but you're going to feel cravings when you start eating more than 1 meal. Yeah, it's quite tricky, you know, it really is quite tricky, and you want to find your own balance. Everybody, yeah. Like it's tricky for everybody.
Like I'm a huge advocate of dry fasting and working your way into long dry fasts. Working your way, meaning you got to live this lifestyle, actually live the lifestyle for 2 or 3 years, you know, slowly expanding the dry fast. There's no rush, there's no race. And you will see the magic that starts happening with a clear GI tract. That's where the magic happens in the dry fast, when your GI tract is clear. When you dry fast off the bat, long dry fast with a GI tract full of garbage, yeah, you're going to get some benefits, but you're putting the body through a lot of punishment for no reason. So we like to do things prudently, safely, and effectively. That's our focus and our goal. And, you know, I've made the mistakes at the beginning of saying things, believing people had an understanding. You know, the less you drink, I used to say, the more aggressive the fast. And what do people do? They drank less and they dry fasted more. And they got in trouble, and a lot of them are not here. Those few that pushed themselves to want to be heroes, because they didn't understand what we were talking about, that this is a lifestyle. You got to work your way up to it, like just like an athlete and everything we were talking earlier. It's not you just jump in.
We became more strict over time as well with the protocol.
We had to, because people didn't have to gain the understanding of what we're actually saying. I wasn't clear or whatever, but
it takes time to.
You know, if people jump in full head, you know, start doing these long dry fasts, you may have 1 in 10,000 or 100,000 that will be able to do it that way. Really, that's the numbers. Like we have people that are having a challenge with 24-hour dry fast. How are you going to how are they going to comprehend they're going to get the 7 to 10, 12-day dry fast? How? You got to do it slowly.
It's not a competition.
Slowly, yeah. Somebody may be able to do it, 7-day dry fast off the bat, but for what reason? What's it going to do for you if you're not living this lifestyle? What's it going to do a 7-day dry fast off the bat? Seriously.
If you're not going to make it a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's.
David, he did a long 72-day fast and he's just broken. So, that break thing, I think out of everything is tricky.
Yeah.
As we know. I don't know if you can talk to him or not, but give him some wisdom. Hope he's all right, that's all. Hope you're okay, David.
Very trying, thinking of a hybrid. Yeah, David, as we were saying earlier, never go back to 7 days, we all know that the eating is challenging, so try and keep the 3-day of non-eating, 1 day dry and 1 wet day before and wet day after. Really, really, truly try to stay to that. And on your eating days, don't worry about the dry fasting so much. As long as you have, close to that 12-hour window area, that you're fine. But those other days, those are reset days to keep that body in that state. Because if we go back to eating every day, that's where the big challenges come. And it's not fun when you get into that cycle of eating every day again. It's hard to break that after. Very difficult. So, keep using the tools.
Try 1 meal a day.
Yeah.
1 meal a day and dry fast.
Well, two meals maximum.
Fruit.
Yeah, like we said, it doesn't matter what you eat. Nothing's going to satisfy you when you eat. But when we eat, the best things would be the least obstructive, the fruit and some greens, green leafy stuff. Even if you have to cook some fruit, that helps emotions. Because when you cook things, you bring it to higher order, and the energy packets are much stronger and easier to process. So the cooked fruit is not nowhere near as obstructive as cooked veggies. So that's another option if you're having challenges with the emotions and all that. Use the tools, use the herbs. On days that you have more challenges, throw some herbs in there. Sporadically here and there. Extra enemas, colonics, whatever you're doing, continue. And anytime you're having challenges. Love the baked pears. Yeah, nice. Yeah. See, they really, really, really cooked fruit really helps with emotions. Ask anybody who's tried that, and you will see it. It really helps because sometimes you're eating that fruit, the raw fruit, and there's just something that's not able to balance out. So that cooked thing, it brings a little bit of balance to us.
Yeah, because Gina, I really like I had cooked tomatoes. Yeah. And it was very, very satisfying. Yeah. It was like beyond whatever tomatoes used to taste like.
How did you cook them?
I just did them in a fry pan.
Oh, okay.
Just on their own. Took the skin off, and just cooked them, and just like end up being a little bit like a sauce. But it was just so satisfying. It's probably out of all the fruits, besides the watermelon that I broke with you guys. Watermelon was great. The melons were great. Couldn't handle banana. I started having trouble with mangoes after a bit of time.
I love tomatoes.
But the tomatoes were just divine. And then I put some herbs in it, so like oregano, rosemary and that.
Barbecued watermelon. You ever try that?
No. I'll have to think about I'll have to think about that on 31st of August.
There's so much stuff we can do.
We have cooked watermelon before. We have made watermelon soup.
Tastes like candy.
It's actually savory, a little bit savory, right?
Savory candy. It's a weird taste.
Something makes it savory.
A few people have done the MFS with cooked watermelon juice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Kelly Kitty, because she couldn't get the grapes, so she made her own watermelon juice and cooked it. That's what she used. And there was Anna from the other page, Dr. Morse. She was the one who actually asked me, "What about watermelon juice?" I go, "Anna, you want to try? Let me know." And we ranted and raved about it.
Yeah,
because
reduces
I
inflammation.
knew it'd have some power, but yeah, it's
For edema, right? She said.
yeah,
Great for edema, for the kidneys.
Who do we have? We have Josephine who joined us. She's saying, "Hello, do I have to use herbal tinctures when I do the MFS hybrid?" The hybrid, yeah, is part of the tinctures. You can go on and off them, tinctures are part of the hybrid.
Yeah, to get results.
The hybrid is basically a way we live, in between the fasts. So with one meal a day, and we're not getting into the massive eating lifestyle. We're having windows daily of fasting, meaning we're having a window of dry, we're having a window of wet, and then we have the meal. So it's short, little, tiny fast. And as we say, eating and healing do not belong in the same sentence. You can only go so far of using the hybrid as a way to clean, heal, and find balance.
It was designed.
It's designed to live off. It's designed for children. It's designed for old people. Just we can't put them in a fasting situation for whatever being the belief system or whatever's not there. That's what it was designed for.
But some people do it as a lifestyle between.
In between,
fasts.
yeah.
And when you do it as a lifestyle between the fasts, herbal tinctures.
Yeah, the tinctures are part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take a break from them, I guess when you're between the fasts, but for older people, it's designed to be a detox. So yes, herbs.
Alexis, I finally got my tinctures, but I'm going to Peru next week, so I will start MFS when I get back. Yay! Awesome. Enjoy your trip. Enjoy your trip, Alexis.
I just got to say, Inga, you look glowing on the video. Your skin looks absolutely amazing, because I know you're fasting with us, and you look so different to me. You just look really, really cool. And I know it's early hours in the morning for you. You're always on here. Love you, sister.
Yeah.
Thank you. And do you want me to share a little bit?
Sure.
Yes.
We'd love to hear everybody speak.
I feel such a deep gratitude, especially to you, Gino and Rana, and everyone else in the group. But I have so different experiences unfolding within me. It's just incredible. I never really have been against anything, and now by unfolding and allowing to come on surface is because we here for experience. Every single being, including from the humanity to animals to nature, everything. There is nothing wrong. We just for pure experience. And it's how we take it is, and what happens with us. Why, if somebody was watching my Zoom, I said, never believe anyone. And that's including myself. Because when we believe, we attach. And when we attach, we experience somebody else's experience. And as you know yourself, why we have these emotions and all, because we are attached. And it's time to let them go. We holding so much on our body, it's not ours. Or we have it's for purpose, probably for growing. And as so many people want to avoid negativity, it's so much beauty is in negativity. It's just absolutely heart-touching.
Yeah, there is a special glow in you today, Inga.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I remember way back when we spoke the first time, and we chatted and stuff, and seeing you moving along, and you're joining in and continuously supporting each other, and we're watching you grow and change and going through these wonderful changes. You know, not too long ago, you had thoughts of didn't want to live around, didn't want to be around anymore, and now.
And that is because of responsibility. It's very hard to really realize you are responsible for every single moment in your life. Anything what happens around. And it's patience.
Yeah.
Patience, patience, patience.
This is what our modern society has not taught us. The patience, persistence, and consistency to master yourself. And that's why I say, don't trust me. Trust in your soul. That's where your connection to God is. It has nothing to do with me. We're all sharing. We're all sharing our experiences, and we can all, get a glimpse of what it might feel like. But your experiences, your understanding comes through your experiences of doing it, of living it, and then you'll start to see things differently, and you'll have more of an understanding of what other people are talking about through your experiences. And that's the beauty of us getting together and sharing and supporting each other, and seeing where's this thing gonna go. We have no idea. But it's limitless, that's for sure. It is limitless, and anything that tells you anything else other than that, don't pay attention to it. It hasn't gotten us anywhere. It's just enslaved us to believe that we are limited in what we can do and what we can be. And this is the challenge.
I wouldn't agree with that, Slayman, because, like as I say, we come here for for experience.
Right.
What I feel, we are little creatures or whatever, these playing on this planet, our own role, our own play or a film or whatever we want to label it. Every single one of us.
All these wonderful creatures are just beautiful creations of God. I've been posting nature shots of animals and stuff. Just look at everything has so much beauty into it. Pay attention. It's limitless. Like, my goodness gracious, doesn't matter. Just wow, that's why I say get into nature. Get into nature. There's no such thing.
But also in negativity. It's so much beauty.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah, awesome. It's here to teach us something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we struggle a little bit. But it's all there for a reason.
Absolutely. And what I have noticed now, I have to slow down my fast because my daughter is going exactly same symptoms through as me. And she doesn't do fast. She releasing worms. I have anywhere I eat, she eats. If I cannot sleep, she cannot sleep. We are so connected. I'm very in tune, but yeah, she, if I want to go faster, maybe with my mind, then my daughter says, you're going too fast.
So you're in sync.
I say today, are we Siam twins?
She's doing a little bit with you?
No, she doesn't fast. No. But it goes exactly through what I'm going.
Awesome.
Yeah. really interesting.
That genetics is fascinating, Inga. You know, the genetics and the quantum physics. Is it because you know, like I'm doing this not for me anymore. It's for the planet, other people. You know, and when you're connected with somebody and you're doing it, like you don't, you know how even Gino and everyone says you don't have to tell anybody, right? You don't have to share what you're doing, because what happens, they feel it. They've got no choice. There's no, if they're connected to you and they love you and care and vice versa, and you're doing it, you're already affecting them in ways that, like, I didn't even realise that. Not until the end of the 108 days. That's when I had that realisation that when you're doing it, you're actually not even doing it for you anymore. You don't even do it for you. You see the changes in other people, and you go, what the, you know? And you thought, wow, this is bigger than what you really think it is. Because most people come in for a fast and they usually do it for themselves or some form of healing. But when you go into the deeper layers, like this second fast I'm in is just, I can't tell you some of the cosmic stuff and spiritual things that have been going on, because people wouldn't understand it. You've got to experience it. It's no use talking about it. But you realise no matter where you walk and where you go, if any person or animal or anything is, even plants, I see it, they kind of like want to touch you. They feel the energy and you just go, what is that? Like I'm going, man, this is really damn cool. The secret of the secret place is too much secrets in there. Like you go, wow, it's so worth it. But you've got to go at your pace. Like I agree, you've got to go at whatever pace you've got to do to get there, and just let go of the emotions, good, bad, indifferent. It doesn't matter, because that emotion is what it is. It's just an emotion that helps to create your life in a way that, not even your life, but the lives around you. So, Inga, I really hear you on that. I hear you so much. I love, this is why my love for this group is just, it's too much. It's just too much. I love you all so much. I'm fasting, and like all of us here, fasting for you now.
Right next to her. Yeah,
you know, like always deep within was like, you don't need to change children. Change yourself, and children will change.
Absolutely.
Because what I've seen, like witnessing, when people put these little children meditate, it's no need. They need to play. They need to run. Parents need to do that. Exactly. Because as you can see, witness animals in nature, they don't sit and meditate. They play. They run. They such a joy. But we humanity put that all on. Oh, wow. Incredible. Incredible.
I always felt, the best way for me to help Gino fast is for me to fast. It might take him a few days to catch up, but he will. And same thing, I told him, you know what? If you want to help me fast, you go ahead and start, because I will follow. I mean, it just happens because we live together, There will be less food at home, less temptations. If I want to eat and I ask him, he will say no because he's fasting. And then the second day I might eat. And then the third day I will be like, you know what? I better get myself together and start fasting, So.
But also, two beautiful souls. It's so beautiful to experience whatever you felt to eat, because it's so much information comes through when you actually experience that moment, whatever you had and it's incredible. It's incredible. Like, that's between fasting and eating, so much openness has happened to me. It's beyond the words. I would say if I was just fasting, that I wouldn't be where I am now.
Yeah.
Because with that eating is so much growth and learned. You learn so much.
Yeah. Lessons that had to be learned.
you know.
Yeah.
Any pain or any blow, like I usually, if I mix, I have to be careful when I mix food because I get bloated very much. But it's so much knowledge in there.
Yeah. You know, you've been around since the beginning, I believe, right?
No, I'm a 2017 in joined September. No, August.
It's over a year.
No.
Yeah, it's over a year.
Almost 2 years. Yeah, okay. You've been around. Yeah, so this is where patience, persistence, consistency. How do you get that through to people? I don't know. Everybody wants their magic in 108 days. Yeah, you're gonna have some magic, but so what? What are you gonna do after? You gotta have a plan, a lifestyle. Continue. Keep going. Keep.
I never done 108.
It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, you know, it's, you know, look at the progression and how much time it takes in our slow motion realm. As I was saying earlier, it's the slow motion realm. It's okay, you know, today's the day I'm food free. I'm fasting today. That's all we need to do. Focus on today. Have the plan.
Yeah, and the best way to change the world is for us to change ourselves, right? So
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
You want to see, and you will see the change. Just be patient with yourself and others.
You know, today I went to go make my mother's tea. They weren't home and go, oh, they went for a walk. She's been going for walks this past couple of weeks with the, you know, how tough it was to try and get her outside. Things are changing. You have no idea the challenges. It's, you know, when people have some, you know, mental instabilities and stuff, you have to have an understanding with somebody that has got to be there, and to try and work with people around to be able to convey that message through. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Not easy.
Just be the change. Honestly, be the best self you can ever be, and you will find things start to change. Just do your part, you know, because that's.
But you know, like what I was like witnessing and notice, because we come in here for experience. That's also good, like your mom or my dad, whatever, and we need to allow them have their own experience, and if they come and ask for help, then otherwise, with our knowledge, we think we know to give them better advice, but actually we're not allowing them to experience their own experience.
Yeah, to learn the lessons.
Yeah. And the most powerful, like masterclass is powerful, but the most powerful healing is, yes,
I would say prayer and fasting.
Triggers
or prayers?
Yeah. Triggers. When like, say for example, I say something and that triggered you, challenge, whatever you call, that is the most powerful healing.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't hurt them and make them go crazy, you know.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's also like, if they're not ready, they're not ready.
Absolutely.
As you know, master fast is so many people not ready.
Yeah. I think for sure, I totally agree that you want to give everybody space to learn, and our parents, but we want to be there for them because I feel they are also our responsibility, like kids as well, right? They are our responsibility, so we have to be there for them. Respect them always, no matter what. But yes,
respect, that's different.
Give them the space to learn. Give them the space to make decisions and learn. Right? Yeah.
Awesome, Inga.
Hey, Rana, how are you going with your you're doing 1 day eating still, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then the rest of the, how are you going? Because I know you struggled a little bit going back and forth.
Yeah.
And I can sort of see why, but yeah,
I
curious.
I did well. Not last week, the week before. I did 2 days a week of eating, and the rest of the week I did master fast. And when I ate, I did dry fast and 1 meal a day. That was like Islamic fast, where I dry fasted and I only ate on sunset. And that was great. I loved it. But then my dad came last weekend, and I ate a little bit, and then I kind of fell off track. You know, it's emotional for sure. You know, it's just too many people. You know, too much family members. You know, and memories and stuff. So I kind of, you know, felt a little bit weak on Monday, and I went back to eating. I said, you know what, I'll wait for the weekend to start, because on the weekend I can, you know, just relax. I'm not working. I can wash my colon. I don't have to rush, and that's what I did today. Like I started maybe 3 o'clock today, 3 p.m. So we'll see. But I like the plan. I did well 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to get back, I believe, on it. That's what I want. That's my plan, to get back on that. 2 days a week of eating, 1 meal of fruit a day at sunset. That's it. Yeah. Very simple. Not much food, just a small meal to break my fast.
Josephine, is it okay to use Starformation 4 and MFS hybrid? Yeah, the hybrid is where we use Starformation 4 or Super 6.
Yeah.
Is there a European seller of MF stitches? There's not a European seller. We sell everything through the website, the MFS website. Directly is UK, Netherlands, and Ireland, and anywhere else is done through UK, except for Norway.
Yeah, but everything.
Oh no, not Norway. Is it Norway?
Norway we don't sell.
Norway we can't sell to, but there's a way to.
It's Norway, right?
To get people who got it through Sweden or something. They went to pick it up or something.
Yeah, but you know, yeah, but I don't think many people live in Norway.
Everything's on the website. The NFS protocol has all this information, Josephine. That's a good place to start. If you read the notice, has all the links to the videos, protocol.
Yeah. So if you want to order tinctures, just order normally. Everything is included there. So if it's going to the UK or going to Italy or wherever you are, everything is already planned, so that you just have to order, basically. Just place your order.
These calls here focuses on supporting each other through the journey. For the basic questions, it's in the protocol, and we have the page. If you use the search option, there's been asked many times for people.
It's important to read the protocol when you do the fast. It's good to read it. Very important, actually. And use the Facebook for support. Yeah, it's Canadian dollars. Everything is Canadian dollars. Thank you.
So, we've gone past the 2 hour mark. Okay. It's when you're having fun, you know, time just flies by.
Hannah, are you fasting at the moment, Hannah?
Yes. Day 38, I believe, and I'm dry fasting right now. It's actually I was so afraid of a long dry fast, so I'm past 24 hours on a dry fast.
Awesome.
I'm trying to do the 3-day dry fast. That's my goal. Doing okay so far. A little tired, but doing fine. It feels a little strange to have an empty stomach, because I feel like the pudding is a little bit of crutch, because I feel like I ate something for the day, but it's okay, and I'm not thirsty. I'm except for being a little more tired than usual. I feel fine. So, but I'm just still
I'm just still struggling with, my kidneys will not filter. They just refuse to filter. I still haven't been able to filter.
They will filter.
So
that's the way to go. You can do much
Massage
more.
them daily.
You have
maybe I'm stressing too much over this. Maybe I should just
kidneys
relax.
Kidneys have their own free will. We need to love them and nourish them and support them. Get that burn stick and massage them every day. And castor oil packs, of course, 3 days on, 3 days off, 3 days on, 3 days off. You continue that. The kidneys are a challenge for some people. It took me a year to get filtering.
Wow. Okay.
Do you have lower back pain?
If I do, it's very, very slight. I mean, I can barely feel it. Several years ago, I had kidney pain on the right side for about a year. Then it stopped. Then I started having the other side. And then when I went on to basically whole foods diet, all mostly fruits and some vegetable salads, it finally went away. So, I know there is an issue. So,
yeah.
I upped the enema. I'm doing 3 enemas a day. I mean, stuff is coming out like crazy. I got the tinctures. So now no more headaches. And my the acne on my back is going away. So I guess that's a good sign. I'm getting rid of stuff via enema. So,
of course.
I have a challenge because now like I said earlier in previous calls, I weaned myself off the thyroid meds, but still, my thyroid is really not working because I was on thyroid hormones for about 2 years. So, I mean, it's obvious, but my doctor insisted on, doing a lab CBC and thyroid panel. So, of course, all the numbers are low, high TSH, which is to be expected. But, for that reason, I'm cold. Well, I was cold even when I was taking the thyroid and my numbers were supposedly normal. I'm like, well, I still feel cold. But anyway, I can't sweat. And I did sauna just, several days ago, 30-minute infrared sauna session. I barely broke sweat at the end of maybe the last 3 minutes. I mean, it's incredible. It's like, I can't get warm. I can't start sweating. It's incredible.
Yeah, you got to be patient, persistent, consistent. This is you're just starting the process. You got to.
I know you said you felt cold for 2 years. So,
are you completely off the medication?
Yes, I'm off everything, all meds, all supplements. I mean, all I'm doing is, taking the tinctures and following the master fast, but I didn't want to take anything.
What other medications were you taking?
I was also taking progesterone because my hormones were out of whack. When I did the CrossFit and the paleo, it completely messed up my whole hormonal system. It burned up my thyroid, my adrenal hormones. My estrogen were through the roof. But then I learned it's also from systemic inflammation. It's not just, depending on your age. I mean, I was just putting so much stress on my body, and I was progesterone deficient and of course thyroid deficient. And I was having like anxiety and all this. And I mean, and I was not able to sleep because my mind was just going like crazy. And then once I went on a progesterone, I was able to sleep, and the anxiety went away, but it became a crutch, I mean, it just became a crutch. And I'm like, I don't, and then you got to take these supplements. I mean, I was taking 20 supplements a day, and I'm like, well, it's expensive. I mean, I gotta work a full-time job to pay for all this stuff. I mean, it's not sustainable. I can't be taking this for the rest of my life. And then, you know, I didn't really feel like it was helping. And I'm thinking, well, maybe my GI system is so plugged up, I can't really absorb anything, or this is not working. I mean, I really didn't see much difference. Yeah, maybe some labs when, you know, were better or whatever, but I'm like, there's got to be a better way.
It's a good thing that you're like, I mean, taking these medications.
I mean, my goal is just to purge everything. I mean, I still have them in a pantry. I still have them in a closet. And my ultimate goal is to take that shell, throw it in a garbage, and just like be done forever.
Do it.
And that's what I want.
Do it.
Yeah, now you're into the dry, you know, go for the 3 days. Really trust that you can allow that to happen, and keep massaging those kidneys, because the dry fasting, the squeeze is where everything happens, and then we wash it out. This is vital and very, very crucial and important. But, you know, you have a lot going on. All that stuff that you've taken, that has to all be detoxed out, and it takes the time it takes. So just embrace the journey, whatever happens.
And these are hormones. They suppress your body from producing the hormones. So
right,
allow the body to rebalance itself out, and that might take time. I mean, thyroid medications, some people take a long time to get rid of them. Like, we know one person, a nurse, who took a long time.
Some years to wean herself off and get off them, and get a proper.
That's a fasting.
Proper blood work and all that stuff, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't need the hormone now. I'm getting such a great sleep. And the other thing is, like, I'm having dreams. I didn't have dreams for maybe 15 years. I had no dreams. None. I'm like, what is wrong with me? People have dreams. I don't have dreams. And now, I mean, and rarely do I need to go, you know, to the bathroom. But if I have to go like towards the early morning, and then I'll go back to bed, and I fall asleep and I have a dream again. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Connecting to source. Fasting is not a physical thing. It's a spiritual journey. And the dream state is the limitless realm where we go for a walk with soul, leave the body behind. So enjoy that realm. You know, the physical body thing, it's like I said, this is the slow motion realm. Don't focus on all the things that, like the cold and all that. Just use the tools to pull you through these times. Whether it takes you a year or 2 years, it doesn't matter. Your body will bring balance to itself if you remain on the journey. The only time it won't is if you go off the journey and go back to addition, which, you know, it's like the supplement thing. I went through states of spending $1,000 a month on supplements. Believe you me, they do absolute nothing except bring in balance to the body. Anything you take external, the body stops making it. And I'm talking about food as well. When you stop taking food, your body starts producing the food, starts producing the hydration. This level of thinking is absurd to everybody out there. It doesn't, they think it's stupidity of what we're talking about. Whereas we're showing that it's happening. You know, 2 women grew 1.5 inches, 1 woman grew 2 inches on MFS. How does that happen? With supplements, with this or that nutrition? It doesn't happen. It happens with nothing. Because the body starts into its self-hydration process. And as we've explained, from our understanding, you know, I don't know how many people even check themselves for growing. You know, that was one thing that I found out, because my original yoga teacher, he came back after I hadn't seen him for like 2 years, and he comes to my home. This was just not long after my first MFS, it was like when I came back from Italy, he goes, you've grown. I go, what? He goes, you're taller. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, no, you look taller. So I measured myself and I go, holy, I gained 3/4 of an inch. And he noticed that. I'm going, holy jeez. And then I mentioned some people that have checked. You know, two women 1.5 inches and one woman 2 inches. Like, that's massive. Just think about how much pressure the body had to close itself and tighten itself up. You know, and then when it's finally, the obstructions have been able to break free, it opens up and everything flows and the energy gets expanded. That's what's happening. You're not really growing. You just lost height from your lifestyle.
You feel it in your joints when you eat
heavy yoga.
When you eat a heavy meal and you wake up the next morning, you feel the stiffness in your joints, and you can understand why the spine shrinks when you are eating and expands when you're fasting. It just opens up. You know, things become much more flexible.
The answer is in plain sight. If you do stretching or yoga, you'll see when you're fasting, man, everything opens up, everything moves better.
Much easier to do yoga when you're fasting, for sure.
This is why I say the answer in plain sight. Obstructions will make you hungry. Obstructions will make you thirsty. The heavier the obstructions, the more hungry, the more thirsty. Play with these things. Find out. You know, go eat some fat, and you're going to see you get hungry and you get thirsty. They're stimulating. They're numbing, and they're plugging. They plug you up. So, you know.
Yeah, I remember when I first started MasterFast, in the first few days, it was almost a struggle for me to adhere to the 12-day dry fasting window. And now, I mean, I'm some days, if I'm not, it's only for time reasons, but I can easily do 15, 16 hours. It's not a problem at all. Yeah, I mean, easily. So I'm thinking, well, I wonder if I want to do at least 24. And I'm like, oh, I'm past 24 hours already. So, you know, I mean, it's, I'm pretty confident I can do the 72. I mean, you know, I'm not there yet. I'm not but
yeah, at least 36. If you can go longer, 48. If you can go longer, you know, whatever, 42, 48.
Right. I mean, I'm not really stressing about it, but you know.
But yeah, you don't have to do 72. If you feel extremely tired, break it. But
no, I highly recommend people go to the 3 days every month, and if they can't do a dry, you go to the semi-dry. You know, use the tools that we've suggested, herbs, blah blah blah, whatever. Or if you're really having challenges with dry fasting in general, do the colon feeding. You know, but I'm just saying 3 day the squeeze is very, very important, very important. We work ourselves to be able to get to the 3 days a month, and you will see the changes start happening. The kidneys will start opening and stuff. It happens in the dry fasting. It doesn't happen with the juice. The juice is the washer. We need the squeeze, the daily squeeze, the weekly squeeze, the monthly squeeze, and the season change squeeze. We don't do for those who dare on MFS, 5 days.
Yeah, you don't need to do that.
No, I'm not there yet.
Yeah, but we don't suggest you do longer daily dries, because we've seen what happens with people. You know, they dry themselves up.
Yeah, keep it 12 hours.
They start drinking less. They start getting nausea and all the first signs. Bang, they're in trouble. So there's no reason to get into that state. The 3 day monthly squeeze and the once a week, 24 hours is enough on MFS. It's more than enough for 99% of people, because we're all in such an obstructive state, and we want to do it with prudence at a nice, slow, steady pace. We don't want to push things, you know, and get ourselves in trouble. There's no need for that.
And I also wanted to add, you know, I've been watching a lot of the testimonials. Obviously, Marin's interview, which was it's just amazing. And then I watched, I think it was Michelle Gibson, the lady with the scoliosis, and she basically had her skull regrown. the original shape after injury. I mean, it's just amazing what people, you know, been through in their lives, and how they were able to overcome the challenges. But I mean, how they were able to regenerate old injuries with this MasterFast. It's amazing. And also there was another one that I listened to. I don't know the full name, but I know the first name was Carl, and it was a younger guy that was from England and moved to the US. And you know what? It was the first time ever that I've heard someone mention that their legs were swelling. I've been battling with leg swelling for the last 15 years. No one has been able to tell me why or address the problem. All I've been offered were diuretics, which I refuse to take because that's not a solution. That's a symptom fix, but nobody was able to get to the underlying issue. Then when he mentioned that after breaking the MasterFast, he didn't break it the proper way. He overate or ate the wrong foods, and his legs started swelling. And I'm like, oh my goodness, the light bulb went on. It's from being congested. All these years, it's just from being congested.
Of course.
So now I have my answer.
There's some people that got themselves in such a state their legs blew up like balloons. It's not fun because you get yourself with all that pressure in the body. You can get through what's called hydraulic lock, which medical science, I don't know what they call it. Your heart can stop. With all the pressure.
No, that's not worth it.
Well, we've seen people do that because they don't adhere and listen to what we're saying. And it's very simple what we got to do to exit the MFS. You just have to be very clear. And that's why we say now, for most people, should not be doing 108 days as a start. Most people are not ready from what we've seen. It's better to start on like a 40-day or something, and then come out of that cleanly and start preparing for another one in a few months or whatever.
And Gina, that's because of the emotions, isn't it? That's the reason why. Because the physical stuff's pretty easy. And you're right, Hannah. Like what happens you're doing a 30-day one now. I noticed in mine after 30 days, after that 3-day dry fast, my inflammation just disappeared. I just don't know where it went. And I noticed it starting to come back when I broke. It took about a couple of weeks. You notice this stuff. That's where you become so acutely aware. But Gina, you're right. It's the emotions. I had no idea that so many go through it. It's incredible.
Well, I'm gonna be at day 40 on Monday, which was my original goal. I wanted to get at least the day 40, and I will not do the full 108 because I'm gonna be going on a trip during the time, and I want to break before that and just get on a good recovery protocol so I don't go through all the craziness and all that. But I'm thinking about doing probably 60, 70 days, something like that, maybe 72. I'll see where it gets me. And also I really have lost a lot of weight. I mean, I started at a weight when I was 130. I've lost now over 20 pounds. I have lost a lot of weight. I actually had to go. I don't have single pair of pants or skirt that will fit me. And I was already buying size 4 and 2. I had to go to the store and buy a new set of clothes. And I bought size 0. There is nothing smaller than size 0. So I'm like, I do have to wear something on my days off. So, but I'm thinking maybe there was initial great loss. I think maybe at these later stages, there is not really that much to lose. I mean, inch-wise. So, you know, that also depends. So I'm thinking maybe I will, when I'll see it might be getting too far, maybe it's time to stop, get on recovery, and then go back on another fast, you know, and go that route. Now, another thing is to mention, and that's how really toxic I was. I used to struggle for most of my life with this extremely stubborn cellulite. And my legs would be thin, but the cellulite was, I mean, I could see, you know, chunky women, and they didn't have nearly horrendous cellulite the way I was. And today I went into the store, and I'm like, my cellulite is almost gone. I'm going to buy a pair of shorts. And I bought a pair of short shorts, not something that will go down to my knees, so I have to cover up everything. Because the cellulite on the back of my legs is completely gone, and there is just a very little fine. I mean, you really have to look up close. I was so proud. And my husband, he was just like almost in tears because he was waiting for me in front of the fitting room. I said, well, here I am. And I mean, because I was so ashamed. I wouldn't even wear a bathing suit. And I'm like, I can go to the beach. I can actually wear shorts, you know, going out be around people and not feel ashamed, because it was really bad. So, you know, I'm like amazed. It's just been a great blessing. Yeah.
One day at a time, Hannah. One day at a time.
Thank you, Gina.
Embrace it. It's all fine. We're getting into some extra time. I don't want to go too long for others to watch, and we got to get some stuff done before we go to sleep here. So thank you guys so much. It's been a slice, as always, to have the family members and supporting each other. You know, we're getting back on track with people. The Master Fast came out and shake the world with the information that it's shared. And it scared a lot of people because the understanding is not there. Now, the few who are showing what we are talking about holds true as it did the day one. Nothing's changed. It's the understanding that is starting to be gained by the few. And we will see much more miracles happen. What we've seen is nothing. There's absolutely nothing. The stories are amazing. Michelle Gibson, yeah, there's so many. She's another amazing transformation that Michelle went through. It's incredible if you listen to her story as well and punch in her name. She's the one who helped us create the MFS protocol for pets. She's been working with animals for 40 years. So there's so many out there. You can't even remember them all. There's so many wonderful stories. But we'll call it a close. We'll see you guys on the page. And, you know, we'll see you next week, or, you know. So
love you all. Bye, Rana. Have a great week. Thank you.
We keep that plasma love flowing. Thank you, guys. Ciao.
Ciao.